All right, welcome everybody. This is BC. This is another Supreme Being episode. We're a little bit early today, so if you end up coming later and you miss the live, my apologies. First and foremost, this is sponsored by Team BC, my real estate team. If you need anything real estate, go to teambcsold.com or email us at teambcsold@gmail.com. Number two, if you would like to partner with myself and my team, go to partnerwithteambc.com. And lastly, if you're not on my coaching program, Modern Success, I don't care who you are or where you're from, you'll benefit. Get signed up. I think we had almost 60 people this month, between 55 and 60 so far sign up. I recommend you do the same. Link in my bio on Instagram or go to bryancasella.com. Okay, let's get started. Today, podcast is going to be simple. I'm going to cover a few basic things that every single person needs. Now, here is the kind of warning or prerequisite for this, okay? If you're following me, if you're listening to this podcast and you don't want to get better, you're looking to be average, you're not swinging for the fences as far as what you want to do in life, and you're not really going after it, then these things won't apply to you, okay? Because everything I teach, everything I say, and especially this podcast is going to force you. It's going to force you to do things you don't normally do. It's going to make you very uncomfortable, and it's going to test you. Right? It's going to test you. So you're going to be in a lot of positions where maybe you feel like crying, maybe you feel like giving up, okay? I'm just warning you and telling you, okay? Now, this has to be an advertisement for everything that I teach, but in particular today, because a lot of the things that I say are going to force you to do things that you don't normally do, like spending time with certain people and the big evil ones, spending money and forcing yourself to confront insecurities and a lot of other things that people refuse to do, okay? So let's get started. Number one, if you want to grow, you want to get better, you want to evolve. I don't care if you do a 9 to 5. I don't care if you're an entrepreneur. I don't care if you do real estate. It doesn't matter, okay? First and foremost, you need to be able to tap into a thriving, powerful, appreciative, supportive, and enthusiastic community. A community. But what I mean by community is people who regularly engage with each other, are very close, and are people who share a common, not only interest, but dedication and commitment to a certain thing, whether it's their goals, their personal growth, or whatever it is. Now, by community, I want to draw a clear divide here. If you follow somebody like me on YouTube, and we've created a community, that doesn't count, okay? That's great, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people you can talk to, people you have access to, people that you call your friends, people that you meet up with maybe once or twice a year that you see in person, people that you have genuine connections and friendships with. That's what I'm talking about here, okay? A thriving, committed, supportive community. You know why? This is why. A lot of times when we as individuals go through things, right? When we experience the downs, when we experience the ups, and we experience things, we want to be a part of a tribe or a community that we can share with. Not only to help, but also to give good energy to ask for help when we want it. And we feel better and more accomplished when we have people around us that we can share with, period, okay? Now, with that said, you want to have people that are on the same path as you. Even if they're a different career paths, you can still be on the same path because you're both going after your goals. You're both committed to personal growth. You're both committed to, as an example, bettering your communication, building your relationships, doing this, doing that. You have common threads with each other, okay? Now, again, when I say community, okay, think about a real life community, okay? That's what you want. An exchange of energy, an exchange of good vibes, a shoulder to lean on when you need it, right? Think of it as lions. One lion's a bad motherfucker in the jungle, but how about 4 or 5 lions? They'll rule the fucking jungle, okay? And you may be following somebody right now that has created a community that you can tap into, right? And maybe you're not a lion yet, that's fine. But being around them, you'll grow and you'll be bred into that lion. Okay? The community aspect. You've heard this before. There's strength in numbers. Okay? Now, this is another thing that I want you to understand. There's a huge difference. There's a huge difference between a free and a paid community. And I want you to get that. This is not an advertisement for my shit. Of course, I would love for everybody to get on my Modern Success as an example, but I'm not forcing you. It could be another community you go to, and that's totally fine. But here's the difference. Okay? Here's the difference. I've done this where I've started masterminds or attempted to start up a community or group when there's no skin in the game and people don't show up People don't really have that true commitment to it. You can still do it, but it's much more difficult. Okay? When there's skin in the game, everybody's putting $50 into the pot, $100 into the pot, or whatever it is, it forces people to step up. It forces them to up the ante. This is why you see all these masterminds with Tony Robbins and all these powerful individuals. They're not free. They charge you. But goddamn, if you get in that mastermind, it's $1,000 or $10,000 a year. There's some powerful ass people that you can make connections with. And one relationship with those people and being around them could completely change your life. And I've experienced that. Where I've paid money to go to an event, even if it was only $100, where I got access to a different level of people. And maybe one connection I made there opened up a whole new chapter and different opportunity for me in my life that I, to this day, am glad I made the decision to go to those damn events. And I've tapped into a community. That's the difference. That's the difference. Okay? So you have to do it. Whether it's with me or somebody else, figure it out. I don't care. Do whatever it takes to get in those communities. You know why? Because the people that are in there, the tribesmen in that community, and the people who run it, there's something there. You're attracted to that community, that person, for a reason, right? There's a spark of them in you. You need to get closer to it, okay? Because this kind of ties into the second point is I recommend everybody have the big brother or mentor type person, because that's the person that you can connect with, be intimate with in the sense of sharing what you're going through, right? Sharing what you're going through, them to pass down knowledge to you. And here's another one. You get to see them live. A lot of the people that you admire and study, okay? If you were to be able to get around them for a day, it would completely change your life. You know why? Because you'll see how they deal with the same shit you deal with on a different level. And until you get in front of them and you spend time with them, it's going to be difficult for you to understand because you can't quantify something that you haven't experienced. It's difficult sometimes. But when you see it, you spend time with them, completely different, man. Different experience. Now, you've been able to see it, you have a reference point, and you're like, oh, so that's what it's like. Okay? And the relationship is a lot more different. It's like back in the day, the people who did martial arts. Right? They dedicated their lives to their sensei. And they spent all the time with them, learning from them, absorbing from them. And they were part of that one dojo, that one community with that one mentor. And that's it. They weren't hopping to 20 different people. They didn't study 1,000 different people, right? They were there with that person. They dedicated themselves to that person. Man. And they became world class at whatever that thing was because they dedicated their lives to it. And I see people buying into philosophies like, oh, I'm a jack of all trades. No. In today's world, you need to be a fucking master. You need to be the top of the top at something. And all of you following me may be or want to be masters at different things. That's fine. But pick that thing or two and get to the top of the chain, man. Because that's where you need to be. That person at the top of the chain lives a different life. They move differently. They have different opportunities. They have access to different things. You get what I'm saying? Now, for every single person listening to this podcast, whether now live or in the future, you need to be able to locate and identify these mentors and communities, and you need to take action, okay? And it may require you testing some different communities. That's fine, but you'll know when you find the right one. And many of you probably already know the right one. It might be looking you right in the fucking face. You have to go look in here and say, what do I want to do? Who do I want to be? Where do I want to go? What do I want to learn? What do I want to be world class at? Who do I want around me? Where do I see myself in 5 or 10 years? From there, the answers will be given. Then, when the community and mentor presents itself to you, then it's up to you to take the step, no matter what it is. And believe me, I've been in situations where me personally, getting access to the community or the mentor or whoever it was, the teachers, it seemed impossible because of time, location, money, circumstances. But I said, you know what? These are the people. I need to figure it out. I need to do this shit. I need to do this shit, no matter what it takes. And I figured out a way. I figured out a fucking way. Okay? Those are the two things I wanted to say in the beginning, because this is where I see people fucking up. Mistakes associated with that are, and look, I'm not saying studying different people is bad. It's just People, instead of dedicating themselves to one particular subject, maybe two, they're dibbling and taking little pieces that aren't anything substantial from a million different things. That equates to below average skill level and proficiency in a million things. That doesn't get you anywhere. Like I said earlier, you want to be world class at the things, and that takes time. It's going to take you 5, 10, 15, 20 years to be world class in that thing. But that's ultimately what you can rest on. You'll be an expert in, right? You'll be irreplaceable in the marketplace and in the world for your knowledge and skills and expertise in that particular thing. That's what you want. So take a look. Again, where do you want to go? What's going to be required to get there? And who do I need to be around as far as a community? And who do I need to learn from to get there? Okay? Yes, that journey is going to require a lot of experience and hands-on you grabbing life by the horns. But still, you really need that community and that mentor behind you to really accelerate your results as much as possible, but to get you through the tough times and get you through all the bullshit that other people refuse to be able to get through. Okay? So those are the first two pillars: community, mentor, guide, whatever the fuck you want to call it. But when I say those words, I mean them in the true sense, not the diluted bullshit sense that other people have made up now. Okay? Again, if some person gives you advice on LinkedIn and you follow them and they post one post a week, they're not your fucking mentor. That's not a mentor. Okay? Let's get this shit straight. Okay? All right, those are the first two things. Now, here's other things that I'm going to refer to that everybody needs. Okay? This is extremely lacking today. One thing that I have developed through my life that I continue to work on, that I know is an asset of mine, that I instill to people that I teach, but that is very loose with most people and missing. And you need, especially if you're a fucking man and you're listening to this, okay? You need an extreme level of discipline. Okay? Discipline. I do this. I wake up at this time. I follow this schedule. When I say I'm going to do something, I do it. My commitments are my commitments. Discipline, man. Discipline. You know why? Discipline supersedes emotions, temporary discomforts, and bullshit. Discipline looks down on that shit. Okay? Commitment and dedication to discipline gets you through all of that. And that is built over a lifetime, like a fucking warrior, like an athlete, or anything else. Okay? Look throughout the history books of the top warriors, the top athletes, or whatever it is. The top inventors, they all had discipline in that field, in that thing, and their whole life revolved around that. If they were dedicated to XYZ, everything revolved around that, and their discipline and commitment to XYZ was it. That's it. Nothing got in the way. It didn't matter. They fucking did it. If they were sick, it didn't matter. If somebody was bitching and complaining, it didn't matter. They stuck to it and did it. Why is it so hard for people to have discipline? Oh, I don't feel like it. What? So you're a puppet to your emotions. The person who's at the top of that field that you want to be in is not a puppet to their emotions. If you're ever curious, right? Ask yourself this question. In this moment, what would the expert version of me, right? If you're a realtor, the $1 million producing realtor in me. If you're a musician, top level famous musician, that's your reference. What would blank, insert that reference, do in this moment? And even if you don't feel like it, you're still going to do it. Because to get to that person who's 5 years ahead, they need to take the action now. Every moment now, and your discipline now, rewards you and makes you deserving of that thing later. What you do now manifests later. You've learned this if you're a real estate agent from any old school coach. The work that I do now and the commitment now pays me 60, 90, 120 days from now. That's common fucking sense. But what does that come down to? The discipline to not only know and understand that, but to execute on a daily basis. That's it. You know what the beauty is about discipline? I don't care who you are, where you're from, what physical or mental state you're in, what country you're in, what language you speak, what your natural talent is. You can have discipline. Anybody can have it. A 5-year-old can have discipline. A 65-year-old can have discipline. Anybody in between, any walk of life, anything you do. 9 to 5, entrepreneur, online marketer, social media influencer, it doesn't matter. You can fucking have discipline. It's a skill. It's not a gene. It's a fucking skill. 99% of what I teach people and what I've dedicated myself to are skills that I've honed that you can hone too and develop. Period. It's not special. You don't have to be from a special family or have money or this opportunity. You just fucking do it. Discipline. But the word discipline and the commitment to discipline has to be on your wall. You have a vision board, you need to have discipline on there. You need to tattoo that shit right here. Discipline. To show your dedication and commitment to that word, because that shit will take you fucking goddamn to a next fucking stratosphere. Okay? Here's the next one. And Randy was on here. Okay? He left a comment before he left. I don't know if he's still on. I'm not bashing him. I'm just making a point here for you to make a mental distinction. He said, thanks for the daily motivation, signing off to go kill it. I'm not motivating you. I'm giving you practical knowledge that's applicable. The byproduct of how I communicate it motivates you. But you need to be careful with that word. You need to eradicate that word from your system and your vocabulary. Fuck motivation. Okay? That is a temporary emotion that will always dissipate. And even worse is people have created this bad addiction to taking motivation and putting it outside of themselves, and they have to fucking get fired up on YouTube for 3 fucking days watching videos to get motivated enough to do something. Forget it. Motivation is a byproduct of a good speaker in most cases. Okay? What I give in every single fucking video that I've done is knowledge, applicable things, beliefs and philosophies, and things you can take into your life in the moment right now to apply and get results. The way it's communicated gives you motivation. Okay? So the next time you want to label something as motivation, be very careful that you are killing yourself. Because you just told yourself, oh, this is just a temporary fire up. I didn't get any real knowledge from this. And I've been grilling people on this. You need to make that mental switch. Right? Motivation comes from within. There's days that we all wake up and we don't feel like doing shit. That's fine. But you need to be able to inspire yourself, motivate yourself. Not have to fucking type motivational speech and whatever on YouTube to get yourself fired up. You know why? Because now you've created an addiction to something outside of you. That's no better or no worse than fucking being an alcoholic or a drug addict. It's the same shit. Now, every once in a while, I'll listen to somebody, I'm like, damn, that motherfucker fired me up. That's cool. That's great. Take that energy and use it. But you shouldn't have to put in your routine 3 hours every morning to motivate myself. That's a waste of your time. I'd rather you spend those 3 hours learning something or honing your skills in that particular field that you want to work in and get to the top. See, that's something tangible. But motivation itself, especially if it comes from me, is simply the way that I communicate it. Because I know I'm a good speaker. So of course, the emotion behind what I'm saying will be transferred to you and you'll feel fired up. But be very careful how you label things. How you label things as an individual can make or break you, 100%. 100%. Something happens outside of your control. Some people will say, oh, why me? This is bullshit. Another person will look at it as an opportunity and they'll get ahead. While the other person has the same bullshit story about the same thing that happened to them, and they dig themselves a hole and they're depressed and they're fucking miserable for the rest of their life. Same circumstances. Different labels, different results, different lives. It's up to you. Okay? So community. Finding a mentor. Okay? Not labeling shit as motivation. Forget that fucking word. Motivation. Okay? And the third thing that I talked about, discipline. It's simple, ladies and gentlemen. It is not complicated. Get your shit together. Tap into a great community. Find the leader that you want to rock with and roll with. Number 3, be disciplined as fuck in the things that you commit to and that you want to do. And number 4, forget fucking motivation. Let the byproduct of what you learn motivate you. Let your results from what you're doing and the improvements that you see in yourself motivate you. Let your own vision boards and your own thoughts and visualizations motivate you. Stop running to, in quotes, motivational fucking speeches. Okay? That's it. Okay? I'm going to open it up to questions here in a second on Instagram and Zoom. As always, thank you guys for being here. If you want to partner with myself and my team, go to partnerwithteambc.com. Number 2, this is sponsored by Team BC, my real estate team. Go to teambcsold.com if you need anything, or you can email us at teambcsold@gmail.com. And lastly, if you're not a Modern Success, I recommend you get on it, as it will change your life. And the link is in my Instagram bio, or you can go to bryancasella.com. Okay, thank you guys for being here. We'll see you on the next one.